So this is the Temple of the Frog. And what you can see is this very well be the head. And if you look over here, this is the frog's back. And then you can see how it might be the legs. So we're gonna go inside and see what this temple means to the Inca. So this looks like the front. And if you pay attention to the form, it very much could possibly take the form of a frog. And it looks out over the entire valley. I'm here at Inco, which is above Sixiwuman. Now, this is a representation they possibly think of the puma. But in Inca, it's the Inco, it's the form of the frog. Now, the frog is the water bringer. They used to give sacrifices in this area to bring water down from the sky for agriculture. Now, behind me, we have different walls, as well as Japanese tourists, that show the 12 elements and the 12 windows that showed and represented the 12 months of the year. Now, they used to put idols in these different windows and pray to them to be able to bring the agriculture as well as the food for the empire. So in this temple, it's a great representation. Now, the Spanish didn't build a church on this temple because it was too far away, but they did cut off the head of the frog. So let's go ahead and explore this temple, which is the connection to the Mother Earth. And how is it the connection to the Mother Earth and to the water? Well, because the frog had the ability to exist both inland and in water. So let's check the rest of it out. Now I'm here in Icanchu, and what we're going to do is we're going to go into the center, or the underneath of the cave in the temple. And there's kind of tourists down here, but we're going to check it out. And this is where the sacrifices were made, like llamas, animals. Now, there is some controversy about human sacrifice, but I don't think a culture centered on agriculture really had the nerve nor the desire to have human sacrifice, although some people do think this. So come on in and let's check it out. Así, amigo. So as we enter into the space, it's a sacred space underneath the rock we had shown you, where offerings were made. Now, as we come down here, you can see there's this altar. Now, this altar is fascinating. Because it's this space where the Inca would most likely have made sacrifices or offerings. Now, what they necessarily did down here, we don't know. Now, some people, like I said human sacrifices. But many cultures based on agriculture, which the Inca was, didn't have any human sacrifices, but they did have different offerings. And this would be an offering to Mother Earth, because the symbology of being so deep underground, underneath the rock, underneath the bringer of the water, would be so significant. And this must be a place that's ridiculously sacred. So we're going to go ahead and move through this space right here, underneath. It's really dark, and you can see there's also a space. It's rather dark right here. Right here there's a space that they most likely put their offerings after they were finished. And this doesn't look like a space where a human body could fit. Most likely a space for corn or grain, or possibly even a dead guinea pig, which coincidentally is a delicacy in Peru, and I'd recommend trying it. It's actually quite good. Now, as we come down through this way, you can see how the rock is ridiculously flat, how this space is ingrained in the earth. And as we come out here, you can see the portal and the space around us, and how this space is also ceremonial to enter into that space over here. So let's come around and I'll show you. This is the entrance from where we just left. And as you can see, there's a wonderful tour guide waiting for a turn to show these magnificent people their time. So you're more than welcome to come here. It is 70 soles, or about 25 bucks, to get into all 4 spaces. So let's go up here to the next spot. Now as we come up the steps, there's all kinds of fabulous people. For instance, if you're interested in any kind of goods when it comes to the Inca, or this kind of element. So go ahead and take a look at it. Now, if you look at this, this is the Inca cross. This is the representation of the Inca and can be seen all over the empire. Now, it's a fascinating element. This is actually great work that's done. And I need to know a little bit more about this because the representation of the Inca is so significant, especially the 3 sides on 4 sides, and of course, from what I understand, Cusco in the center, and the 4 people which it represents, from what I understand, which is the significance of the Quechua. The 4 people are the 4 nations with Cusco in the middle, and the 3 steps of life all around. But I'm going to get more information on this when it comes to it. But the cross of the Inca is not only significant, but rather pretty. Now as we move over here, you can see lots and lots of tourists. As we pass through this rock crevice is natural. Now the symbology that's used is so significant. You can also see this in other different cultures. That, for instance, the Greeks, the ancient Chinese, the Africans, that when you pass through stone, it's almost a changing, an engaging, an entering of Mother Earth, as if entering the womb again. And as you've noticed, I've been carrying around a water bottle quite a bit. That's why it's important to stay hydrated. You want to buy water bottles in Peru. Why? Because the water might make you throw up. But this water won't. Carry it with you. It makes you happy. So we're going to go ahead and pass right on through here. And you can see, as we pass through, that much of the side is natural. But this area has been worked all the way through to a complete flat. And as we pass through this, it's a portal. Now, could you imagine if you were a young man, some part of the priesthood, or going through some kind of change? This would be going through the space, possibly pitch black, and you'd have to face your fear. And going through here, you can see the sun shining right through this point. So how they used it, the way they used it, I have no idea. But the idea, for instance, when they had those paintings deep inside the rocks in France that were found about 100 years ago with those beautiful cave paintings, this is possibly like the representation of spirituality to the nth degree when it comes to that. So let's continue past through here. So as you can see, we have different steps or rocks that possibly were used for different elements. Different rocks or elements that were used. And what this could be actually another space, because right down here, you can see is the entering into that space we were before, which is where Mother Earth, or the sacrifices were, or the offerings were made. So this actually might be part of the transition through. You enter through this side, go around, down into that space, and go through some kind of ceremony to go ahead and pass into some kind of priesthood, or maybe into some kind of religiosity, or pass into manhood even. There's so much to learn about the Inca, and so much to learn about their mythology and their symbology, that we can't possibly know everything yet. But we do know they were a highly complicated, highly technologically advanced, highly spiritual culture, and that these progressions, these evolutions, existed in every culture that had spirituality on Earth. So let's continue on through here. Oh, it's tight through here. And you pass, and you pass. So I think right now we're actually going the opposite way. That this is actually the entrance. And the entrance, you come through here, back the way we went, to that altering space, and then back down and out the way we went. And this possibly could be part of some ritual, part of some form of evolution. So let's go ahead and finish the problem. Now, not to be a little graphic, but this might be a representation of entering, or possibly, if I was wrong, exiting, as if giving rebirth, because this kind of looks like a little bit like a vajayjay. So the thing is this might be the exiting, or the point of rebirth for the person, or possibly the entrance into the vajayjay of the earth, to embrace and get more connected with that space. And as you exit right here, you come out, and you can see, if you come around, all of Cusco. The sun setting. It's pretty amazing. So just for fun, we're going to imagine that we went through a traditional ceremony and just make an Inca ceremony up, since a lot of this I'm getting from local guides, information. So let's say we're entering. We're about to enter manhood, and we're entering through the vajayjay, and we're going to go down into earth to find ourselves. Follow me. So as we go through here, it's very tight, it's very small. We don't have a whole lot of space. It may be dark, there may be chanting, there may be rituals. It could be any kind of condition. The front space that we checked out before, we're just barely moving. There could be chanting down here. There could be people taking pictures like they are right now. We don't know what they had in the Inca Empire. Now as we move on, we get a glimpse of what we may experience in the future. Now, it opens up a little bit wider. There's a space here. Perhaps they met a holy man. Perhaps they found something. Perhaps there was some food. Who knows? We pass on. Both sides are high. And we come out. We see an exit. Perhaps into a space that we go through some transition. Exiting here. We come down, and who knows? Maybe the Inca were found. Lots and lots and lots and lots of tourists from all over the world that speaks all kinds of different languages. Now there's an altar over there. Perhaps in this space they entered in some kind of ritual and came down through here. Now, as they came down through here, maybe a bunch of people were looking at them weird and had no idea what that person were doing. And they were taking pictures, and they were looking at them funny. And then they let them go by, because they're really nice about it. And then afterwards, they jumped down here, and then had to fight some ninjas. And they were and then they came through here where there's more people taking pictures. Or, possibly, this is a place where they kept pumas. That's probably not true. But the altar space over there and passing through here into the actual Mother Earth.
He's a good guy.
Now coming through here,
Okay.
you see it comes into true darkness. And hopefully he still has that flashlight that I gave him. And he does, because he's awesome. Now as we pass into here, the darkness is true. Imagine if it was night. Imagine if it was pitch black, how dark it would be here. And you come to this space, and maybe you lie down, drink an ayahuasca liquid, and go through a transformation, both mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual. Give your offerings. Because here, you're truly in Mother Earth, with possibly the Inca and the wise man up there singing, giving you guidance, the shaman allowing you to become greater, whole, to evolve. Then we pass through here, out a tiny space, back, reborn, moving, possibly taking some time in this space. Rocks all around us. And we're reborn to this vista, to this amazing vista that is the Peruvian Valley, the Cusco Valley. Who knows what could have happened? It may have been that way or not, but I thought it was kind of fun. So let's move on, like I said, to that next point, next adventure on this road that is Peru.